Hello you beautiful misfits, my name is Matt and this is Pixel Burn, where I take a snarky look at the week's gaming news, although apparently what I should be doing is just pointing a webcam at a Vault Boy bobblehead in front of a TV screen with a test pattern on it. Said stream being the unorthodox, albeit effective means by which Bethesda announced a new Fallout game to the world this week. Oh, jeez. Put that away. Put that away right now. Yes, that means you as well, madam. Because I guarantee you won't be anywhere near as excited about this news by the time this segment is done with. Although who am I to accurately gauge what gets people excited anymore? I thought my silly little video about hot sauce mogul Billy Mitchell would only be of interest to a few hundred people, and it's now the most watched video on my channel. Much like I reckon Bethesda pointing a camera at a Vault Boy bobblehead in front of a TV screen with a colorised 1950s test pattern on it would catch people's attention for all of about 10 minutes? 15 tops? Certainly not 24 bloody hours, which is how long the thing went on for. 24 hours, in which sod all happened. Okay, not entirely sod all. There were brief moments of activity spaced just far enough apart to make anyone who committed to watching the thing feel like they weren't completely wasting their time. Moments like a bearded man, a dabbing hand puppet, a specially trained bobblehead whisperer, Pete Hines having a drink, and a box of balloons. 2 million people tuned in for this. Go on, let that little bit of trivia settle into the wrinkles of your brain like so much river silt. 2 million people with sod all better to do, staring slack-jawed and incredulous at a dabbing hand puppet. Culminating in this big reveal trailer for Fallout 76. Whatever the hell that may be. Because if you think you're getting a New Vegas-style single-player Fallout experience, this is the part of the video where I tip a bucket of cold sick onto your lap. Metaphorically speaking. Put your starry-eyed excitement to one side and look at this rationally. Consider for a start the sheer amount of assets recycled entirely from Fallout 4 here, or the utter lack of anything resembling gameplay. Hell, never mind that. What about the almost complete absence of any characters besides this generic Vault Dweller or Jangles the Moon Monkey here? Well, yes, you could say it's weird I remembered his name instantly without having to Google him. I prefer to call it a sly indictment of Fallout 4's lack of memorable characters, aside from you-know-who.
I got word of a settlement that needs our help.
Another thing that's got my cynicism glands all a-quiver is the complete lack of any vaguely credible rumours, scuttlebutt, teasers, hints, leaks, or other miscellaneous hype fodder well in advance of this reveal. Something of a minor miracle this year. But seriously, wouldn't a title as huge as a proper new standalone Fallout installment in the vein of Fallout New Vegas have leaked some tidbit onto the internet before now? Deliberately or otherwise? Oh, there's been lots of bullshit, wishful thinking and rampant speculation about the next big Fallout installment, of course, but little you could really consider believable or even close to what Bethesda's teasing with this. Certainly nothing like the leaked scripts for Fallout 4, confirming its Boston setting, that popped up 2 years before the game's official unveiling. So if we absolve ourselves of any expectations of a single-player RPG, what are we left with? The Fallout lore junkies among you will of course know that Vault 76 was one of only 17 control vaults designed to actually preserve their occupants, and not just use them as guinea pigs in messed up experiments. Like Vault 106 for example, whose residents were constantly dosed with psychoactive drugs. Or Vault 77, which was populated entirely by one lonely man and a crate full of hand puppets. Vault 76 meanwhile was capable of supporting a decently sized population of relatively normal people. The kind of population numbers you'd want to prop up the concept of, say, an online Fallout survival sim for example. And if the punnet of new rumours, insider whispers and other fresh info that emerged in the wake of this reveal are to be believed, that's what we'll be getting with Fallout 76. Told you not to get too excited. Much of what little we currently know has come to us courtesy of Kotaku's Jason Schreier. Whatever you may personally think of Schreier and his work, he has the kind of sources I'd give my right leg for, has claimed some pretty bloody impressive scoops in his time, and I'm a strong believer in giving a person full credit where it's due, even if I disagree with them on occasion. According to Schreier's sources, Fallout 76 was originally prototyped as an online multiplayer version of Fallout 4. While it has reportedly evolved beyond this, it will apparently still have the kind of quests and story you expect from any other Bethesda game, and as it's based on Fallout 4, it will also feature base building. It is also being developed by multiple studios, namely Bethesda's main office in Maryland and their new Austin studio, formerly known as Battlecry Studios. Yes, That Battlecry Studios, the peeps who are making that online MOBA type dealie called, unsurprisingly, Battlecry, before it was unceremoniously cancelled at the beginning of last year. Long story short, fans itching for another Fallout New Vegas are in for a hefty dollop of disappointment this E3, unless they temper their expectations. Which is not to say the game will be bad necessarily, it just won't be an immersive single-player experience. It may well have a lot of the trappings of single-player Fallouts you enjoy, such as quests, story and NPCs, but it'll also have people with names like Vault Fuckboy 69 and XX Lone Chosen Courier XX running around, breaking your shit, killing your settlers, dancing naked on petrol pumps, and generally harshing your post-apocalyptic buzz. But hey, at least it probably isn't a Fallout flavoured battle royale where 100 assorted Vault dwellers are released into a 6 square mile area of West Virginia, 96 of which immediately get stuck in a mountainside or experience some other bug that forces them to quit the game. Of the remaining 4 players, 1 gets eaten by a deathclaw, 1 dies of radiation poisoning, and another blows themselves up with a mini nuke. Whereupon the last player standing, who survived only because they got lost in an abandoned vault consisting of 4 identical rooms and a toilet, wins the grand prize of
A settlement that needs our help.
If Bethesda had decided to make Fallout 76 into a battle royale, however, they might have found themselves on the receiving end of something they and their parent company ZeniMax Media have been quite partial to over the years: frivolous lawsuits. Such as the lawsuit PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds developers PUBG Corp, a subsidiary of Bluehole, have filed against Fortnite creators Epic Games. According to the Korea Times, while the injunction itself was filed with the Seoul Central District Court back in January, it was only publicly confirmed last weekend by a spokesperson from Bluehole. Although there has been some muttering, whinging, complaints and other harpings on to such effect for a wee while now, a number of them coming from Mr. PlayerUnknown himself, Brendan Green, who seems to now genuinely believe he's the sole creative progenitor of the people on an island murdering each other genre. Okay, how do I best summarise this story with the dignity and respect it deserves? This lawsuit is dumb. Dumber than a pallet of bricks with smiley faces painted on them being catapulted into the sun. Dumber than thinking you can pay for shopping online by sticking your credit card in a floppy drive. Dumber than stripping naked, coating your entire body in sugar and then belly flopping onto a wasp nest. Dumber than believing you can copyright an idea. Especially when the idea in question, lots of people murdering each other until only one remains, is at least as old as the faded bloodstains on the walls of the Colosseum. All you can really claim ownership on is an embodiment of that idea, or an expression of it. Hence why we can all enjoy watching or reading both the original Battle Royale and the Hunger Games. The first instalment of which was published in 2008, preceding Brendan Green's original DayZ Battle Royale mod for Arma 2 by a good 5 years. Similarly, you can't copyright a game mode or genre. If that were the case, then we couldn't have had Doom because 3D Monster Maze already existed. No League of Legends because the original Defense of the Ancients mod got there first. No Warcraft Orcs and Humans because Dune 2 Battle for Arrakis was already a thing. No Mario Tennis because Pong. PUBG Corp can't even call Fortnite an outright rip-off. Not really. Despite the two games' shared concept, there are still plenty of tangible differences between them. One has building mechanics, the other does not. One has a semi-realistic art style, the other is a violent cartoon. One uses weapons very close to real-world ones, the other isn't quite so much a stickler for accuracy. One lets you drive a Dacia, the other has only recently introduced shopping carts as a mode of transportation, and so on and so forth. They can't even catch Epic Games on grounds of in-game asset use, since Fortnite's were all made in-house by Epic, while the majority of PUBG's assets were pre-made ones purchased from the Unreal Engine asset store. But surely PUBG Corp wouldn't have filed this suit if they didn't have some flimsy legal justification to do so, right? There must have been a reason behind their decision. Even if that reason is some dingbat brain wrong hatched in the hollow skull of a fucking idiot. For an idea of what that reasoning might be, let's rewind to September 2017 and the following comments issued by one Chang-Han Kim, VP and executive producer at PUBG Corp's parent company Bluehole. We've had an ongoing relationship with Epic Games throughout PUBG's development, as they are the creators of UE4, the engine we licensed for the game. After listening to the growing feedback from our community and reviewing the gameplay for ourselves, we are concerned that Fortnite may be replicating the experience for which PUBG is known. Shanghan Kim later clarified this statement the following day in this interview with PC Gamer. We're going to get some technical support from Epic, and we're going to work with them to make sure Unreal Engine better supports Battle Royale gameplay, which requires 100 people in one session. And now we're starting to have concerns that they're going to develop new features or improve something in the engine to support that Battle Royale gameplay and then use it for their own game mode. You know what? I'll give Bluehole that one. That's a legitimate issue. You see, while PUBG and Fortnite both run on Unreal Engine 4, they're not currently on the same version of it. Fortnite is running on a spiffy, newer, relatively up-to-date version with features like improved static skylight directionality and auto-generation of physics bodies using multiple convex hulls per bone. PUBG, meanwhile, is running on an older version that only has sad old yesterday's news granddad features like improved per pixel translucent lighting and multiple reflection captures blended together with parallax correction. I don't actually know what any of this stuff means, but saying it makes me feel clever. Theoretically, PUBG can be updated to the latest version of UE4 at any time, but that would involve a humongous reworking of the game and break things even more than they already are. Because in games development, there is no magic upgrade switch that does all the work for you without hassle, just like there isn't a button to add multiplayer or some wheel you can turn to tighten up the graphics on level 3. If PUBG Corp did take the plunge and upgrade, however, that wouldn't guarantee them a perfectly even technological footing. Fortnite also has exclusive access to features and updates unavailable to other games running on the exact same version of UE4, because licensees only receive the updates that Epic elects to give them. So PUBG Corp and Bluehole could make a case that since Epic developed the engine itself, and they have carte blanche over which upgrades and optimizations they release to the people licensing their engine, they may be exploiting that to give Fortnite a technical advantage over PUBG. It's a bit like how Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, which is possibly one of the best games ever, came out as a broken, buggy mess because the developers, Troika, weren't allowed access to newer, more stable versions of Valve's source engine during development. Except Epic has released updates better supporting larger numbers of players to licensees of Unreal Engine 4. Updates PUBG could, in theory, take advantage of by upgrading to a newer version. Plus, Bluehole and PUBG Corp specifically stated they filed their suit on copyright grounds, so everything I just told you about Unreal Engine version differences was completely pointless. So that really only leaves them with boo-hoo, Epic nicked our idea, and as we've already established, you can only copyright a specific embodiment or expression of an idea, not the idea itself. Certainly not an idea that had already been implemented in games like GTA 5 an entire month before Fortnite came out. Or an idea your lead creative developer, Mr. PLA, your unknown himself, had already done several times previously with Battle Royale mods for DayZ, H1Z1 and Arma 3. Inspired by at least 2 novels and 5 movies, based on a premise that can be traced all the way back to whatever group of apes first decided to bash each other's skulls in until only one of them was left. For the record, PUBG is more to my particular taste than Fortnite is, because I prefer PUBG's emphasis on scavenging supplies and shooting people. Throwing advanced construction techniques into that mix is a bit more than my old man brain can comfortably handle. I also prefer crashing a Dacia or a bike to zipping around in a silly shopping cart. Plus, I can't be arsed with scampering around looking for an infinity gauntlet to transform into Thanos with. Gosh, it's almost like they're two completely separate games, with one being an iteration of the other rather than a mere imitation. In conclusion, we can all hopefully look forward to this frivolous lawsuit vanishing down a legal toilet where it belongs. Because the games industry as we know it is not only founded on the development of new ideas, but the successful iteration and advancement of existing ones. And needless to say, a lawsuit like this succeeding would not be a good thing for either developers or players. So it's a good thing it very probably won't. As it shouldn't. Because it's dumb. That's all for this episode of Pixel Burn. If you liked it, then please do let me know by clicking the requisite button down below, and let your friends, your family and PlayerUnknown himself know as well. At the very least, I hope you found it tolerable. If you found it significantly more than tolerable, however, you might consider joining some of the officially lovely misfits that help support the channel on Patreon. Lovely misfits such as L Hudson, Strange Guru and Zypher here. Your contribution is not only tremendously appreciated, it also nudges the show a little further out of the gravity well of YouTube's spiralling descent into madness and self-destruction. Meanwhile, till next time, as always, You can go now.